Welcome back to Against My Better Judgment, the podcast where two friends,
I'm Tamara Golden.
and I'm Dannelle Whiteside, tell the truth, share the lessons, and laugh about the moments that we knew better, but did it anyway. Each week, we share real stories about our lives, about the times that life surprised us, stretched us, or just straight up humbled us, and the lessons that we learned along the way.
And this season, we're titling it, How We Do Ships. And for this episode, we're going to learn about how Dannelle does scholarship.
Yeah.
So, well, how you doing? How's your weekend?
I'm good. This week has been, what can I say about this week?
I'm afraid.
Well, I just have been, so basically what happened is, by the time this episode airs, this will have been over, but I have speaking of scholarship, I have a very big literature review that's due on the 31st. And then early this week, we got notice that we're going to have a big snowstorm.
Yeah.
So I had planned on having this coming week to finish my stuff, but the kids are going to be in the house and my husband works from home.
Yeah.
So he doesn't get days off when it snows. So it's going to be me and these kids together. I'm going to be in survival mode. So once I figured that out, I was like, okay, I can't be playing about this lit review. I locked in. And so that's what I've been focused on this week. And also like getting all the snacks and, making sure we got the activities because they're not about to run me crazy. So that's what I've been doing this week.
Well, this is interesting because by the time this airs, this will be my brother's birthday.
Oh, happy birthday, brother.
I don't talk to him a lot at all, but January 23rd is always special to me because, as I told folks on the last episode, my brother was my first friend.
Yeah.
So
I forgot to say that the last episode too. My brother was my first friend too.
Yeah.
And he still is one of my closest friends.
Okay. I'm glad you said that to clear that up, David John.
Yes.
But so my brother, Marvin, Preem, however you know him, I just spent a lot of time this morning just reflecting on him and, lifting him up and just praying for him and wishing just the greatest things for him in this season. So today specifically was just my brother's birthday, and he was just really on my mind. And so it's so far so good. So,
well, did you send him a message or anything?
I did send him a Facebook message.
Okay, look at you.
I don't do all the public stuff, but I don't have his phone number or anything. But I did send him a Facebook message. So, and I'm good with that.
Yeah,
yeah. So
I think
happy
you're
birthday,
honoring
bro.
the relationship however it needs to be.
Yeah,
but he knows you thought about it.
Yeah,
so
and I love him.
Good.
So
good.
So let's get this ship moving. So, how do you do scholarship? I'm very interested in this one.
Well, let's talk a little bit about my reasons why I decided to go back to school.
Okay.
And then how you do school. I can talk about like how you do school from a traditional standpoint of like the path of going straight through school and then being an adult learner. So I went, as soon as I graduated from high school, I went straight to college and I spent 4 years in college. It was a great time, I had fun, but I also learned a lot about school, but also myself. So
did you know you'd do that? Like, was that part of the plan? Like,
yeah,
you just knew that you wouldn't take a gap year?
Yeah, my parents were very much like, it's not if you're going to college, it's where you're going to college. Both of them have advanced degrees. So, and they always told us that you are going to get an education because that's the only thing that they can't take away from you. When you have an education, you have it. You have it. And so I knew that I was going to go to school. And so I, embarked on that, and it was a great decision. And then I went to law school, right? I didn't take any gaps in there. And one of the reasons why is because my mom used to always say, like, you have all the time to work, but you have a limited time to be in this phase of your life of going to school. And so I spent 3 years in law school, and, it was hard. I would not do it again.
No, no need to, because to your mom's point,
because I got it.
You can't take it away.
Yeah, and I mean, I would encourage, because actually, when we're going to go back to Will Be the Judge, because guess who we heard from?
Who?
Briefcase Curious.
You got to be kidding me.
Yeah, okay. You know, we asked her to follow up, and she did follow up. So, what I will say is, you know, I don't regret having gone to law school. It was a great decision in the moment and since, you know, but it was difficult. And so I finished that, and then I embarked on this career, and it's been a wonderful career that I'm extremely proud of. And I had gotten to a point after having served as interim president, and then, you know, obviously it's no secret, because I've said it many times here, that I have a goal of being a president at some point, that I wanted to take away anybody's ability to say you didn't have X, Y, Z. So a lot of times when I would be interviewing, like I was a finalist for the presidency at the institution where I still am. And, you know, people would say, well, you know, she didn't have an advanced degree, or she's never been a pro.
How is a JD not an advanced degree? But I digress.
Anyway, or she don't have a doctorate is what they were saying.
Again, how is a JD not an advanced
That
degree?
part.
I digress.
So, but what's funny is that was a motivation, but when I graduated from law school, I already knew I was going to go back and get another degree. Okay. I knew it in my spirit. I just didn't know when. So, I'm trying to figure out if I've told this story or not, because I don't want to retell the same stories. Yeah. So at some point, probably about 5 or so years into my career, maybe 7 to 10 at this point, I decided that I was going to go back to school. And so I had applied to Harvard because they had a program there, and it was a residency. So like I would have had to move there, and it was 3 years, and I would have gotten a doctorate in education leadership. And I went to like a preview day, and I was like, oh yeah, I'm going to go here. And then I didn't get in. And so then I was like, well, what's next, Lord? Because I know you were I felt a transition was happening. And so then that's when I ended up going to Philadelphia.
Gotcha.
So I let school go after that. And so then once I moved back to the Nashville area, started working at my university, I was like, well, maybe it's time for me to go back to school now. And so I applied to Vanderbilt, and I did not get in. Yeah, curious, isn't it? But I was like, well, maybe school is just maybe I just don't need to go back to school. So I let it go. But then after that, I got pregnant with Donovan. So I was like, well, you know, something better. Obviously, something better. So then I think I just said, well, maybe not, you know, like maybe this isn't going to happen. And so then my brother went back to school, and he changed his entire life. Like he was living here close by with his family, and he decided to go back to school, and he went to Yale. And changed his whole family's life for the absolute better. I mean, they're thriving there. And just seeing him take a risk like that, and seeing how it paid off, I was like, okay, maybe I should look into school again. So I started looking into school again. And now this is after I've had the experience of being interim president. And I'm like, you know, and to now marry my inkling of wanting to go back to school now with the experience of maybe I need something else.
Right.
And so I was like, okay, maybe I'll try again. So I was like, if I'm going to go high, I'm going to go the highest, you know, like I'm going to. And so I knew that, like when you make the choice to go back to school, especially as an adult with kids, you have to figure out what structure is going to work in your life. So, and you have to know yourself too. So I had taught online classes, and I had taken I hadn't ever taken a real online class. I might have taken like those MOOCs, like the ones that were free. Yeah. And I never really finished it because it just was hard for me to really get
You didn't have any
into
skin
it.
in the game either.
Yeah, that's true, because it was free.
Yeah.
But the ones that I taught, I enjoyed teaching it, and I felt like I worked to develop a relationship with my students, but I also knew that if I were a learner in that setting, that it wouldn't be the best fit for me. Mm-hmm. And then I also knew that if I was anywhere in my house trying to take a class where my kids were in the house with me, I would never be able to focus, because they just come get on your lap. They want to wave in the camera. They want to, mommy, I want a snack. He hit me, whatever. And I was just like, I can't. So I looked for, number one, the best graduate school of education in the country. That was one of my criteria. It had to be in the top 10. And then once I found those top programs, I was like, who has an in-person component? And so that's when I found the University of Pennsylvania, the number one graduate school of education in the country, Ivy League, and in person. And so how it works is I go there once a month. I have class Thursday, Friday, Saturday. And then when I go back home, I'm able to do the coursework, the papers, readings, and all those sorts of things. And the other thing is, it's only a 2-year commitment, and I'm getting a doctorate. And so for me, I was like, whether I go back, anytime I go back, it's going to be a disruption for the whole family.
Yeah.
So let me figure out the quickest way that we can do this. I'm like, we can do anything for 2 years.
Yeah.
So it's been great. And I've really found a lot of joy in going to school. I really must be a nerd, because I'm like in the classes, and it's one of those things. It's a difference in going straight through school without life experience and without work experience. And I value that I did that undergrad through law school, but all of the things that I learned were kind of theoretical. Like when I was in law school learning civil procedure about like what happens, when do you have standing, and did you file in the right court, and like none of those things really meant anything, because I hadn't actually practiced, so I didn't even really know what it was like. It felt very abstract.
Yep.
But now I'm studying higher education. I work in higher education. A lot of the things that I'm studying, I'm putting into practice every day for my actual job. And so it's been very enriching in that way. But another way that it's helped me is it's helping me to see myself differently, because I see myself as a scholar. Mm-hmm. And not that I didn't think I was smart before, because I obviously am.
Wow, if you say so yourself.
If I do say so myself. But, when you're working, you don't get to like invest in your reading and scholarship and understanding and elevating your mental acuity and things like that. And so being in that environment, and then, studying and, reading all this literature, like, I'm like, I am really expanding my mind. I just love that. It's like, like I said, I know I'm a nerd now. It's solid. I'm a nerd. So it's just been such a fulfilling journey. And I really, have good relationships with my cohort members and my professors. I just had reached a significant milestone in that I was assigned my chair, mm-hmm. who is supposed to guide me through the dissertation process, and my second reader and a third reader that I picked. And so like I could really nerd out when it comes to my topic, and I'm just so happy about it. And what it's also shown me is opening my mind to what is next for me. So my motivation for doing this was, again, you're not going to say I don't have what I need, because I have what I need. But now I'm like, well, maybe a presidency is not my next step. Maybe it's because my dissertation topic is what can institutions proactively do to prepare themselves for speech and expression crises before they occur? So think about free speech, and, when you have a free speech or expression crisis on your campus, there's the legal answer. Like, especially if you're a public institution, the First Amendment applies. There's not a whole lot that institutions can do to, stop speech or whatever. But when I was interim president, it was like, well, so like every year we have this preacher that comes on and tells you you're going to hell if you're gay, black, woman, whatever. And so people are like, well, why would you let somebody come here and talk about us like this? And this is our home, you know? But, you know, the legal answer is because the First Amendment, but the administrative answer is, how do I help people feel better about the First Amendment? So that's really what started me down this road. And I'm really excited about my dissertation topic because I'm developing a new phenomenon that's never been studied before. And so I'm like, so maybe that's going to take me in a different lane. And so one of the things that, you know, we talked about, the new year and resetting. And, my theme for this year is I'm under revision. And when I was really meditating, the word revision is revision, like seeing yourself differently, like, or seeing yourself again. And so I had an aha moment about what my vision is and like seeing myself in a new light. And so I'm just leaning into that now.
I like it.
And, I don't know where it's going to lead me, but it's going to lead me somewhere fun, and I'm going to be fulfilled, and my family's going to have what they need, and we're going to have a great life. And so, I'm just excited for how scholarship has brought me to this point. And so if you are, you know, an adult learner, you're thinking about being an adult learner, I think the key here is to find a program that is the best fit for you in your life, because if you don't structure your life around it, you will not be successful. And so obviously I could not do this without the support of my husband, without my mom, my mother and father-in-law, you know, a number of people like, you know, who are in our village that sometimes when I'm like, hey, I need to do some focused work, like over the holiday break, when I was really diving into my lit review, I called my sister-in-law because I was like, hey, we don't have anybody to watch the kids. I need a day. And so I went out there with them. They took them to go to like a play place. And then I stayed at their house and just did the work. So like, I'm really leaning on a lot of people to make this happen. You know, flexibility at work, like all these sorts of things to make this happen. But it is just so fulfilling and rewarding. And I'm so glad I did it. So I would just say, you know, from your vantage point of shifts and moving you forward, this is absolutely a decision to help move me and my career and my family forward. And
maybe an entire community.
And I agree with that. So scholarship for me is so important, and, you know, lean into it, you know, expand your mind, invest in yourself. This is what that's all about. So yeah.
I like that. And when I think about scholarship and moving you forward, I think about, man, me personally, I don't know if I'll ever get another degree, but I am a life learner. I'm very curious. I read all the time. I love learning new things. But I think when I think about just my community, one in which I grew up in, I'd say, you know, as long as if you have a plan to exercise your mind, that is scholarship.
Yeah.
If you've decided that what you want to do with your life is be an influencer, totally fine with that. Do you have to go to college for that? Absolutely not. But if you sit down and develop a plan on how to monetize, how to bring in resources, that's truly what I think of scholarship. If you have a goal and your goal is home ownership, and you have a job that you go to every single day, then learn how to save. Like, figure out, when I think of scholarship in a very broad sense, I think about a goal and figuring out how to use your resources to get there, right? So be encouraged. If you did not go to college, be encouraged. If you graduated high school, be encouraged. If you did graduate high school, there are ways to make a good, solid living. And there are ways to deal with life on life's terms. Just by, I will say if there's a differentiator between what I would call just not successful people, but just those aha type people, it is the curiosity.
Yeah.
I have a father that is incredibly curious to where, 1 year he does the whole roof. Then he builds a room. Then he does the plumbing. Then he runs the HVAC. I mean, I just say if there is something that to distinguish a person, if you don't think you have the mental aptitude to do something, if you're curious, then you're selling yourself short.
Yeah.
Okay. If you're curious, you are selling yourself short. So I appreciate and I value, education. And I will say it has been, I mean, you've kind of in many ways inspired me. Like I've just seen you go through this, just take life on and not lose yourself in your family. I heard earlier today, and I'll send a shout out to Sade on this, but she was saying how, I have a universe and my kids, they're just one planet amongst all the other planets. And I think you've done a very, very good job of recognizing planets and keeping the universe around you, moving. So
I try. It's not always easy, but I definitely try. And I will also say that you don't have to go back to school, as Tamara was saying, but there's, as my mom used to always say, there's nothing new under the sun. Everything we know, it's in books, it's in articles. So even if one of the things that I will take away from this experience is to still set aside time to read and, digest new information, because that's how you stay current and relevant and engaged in the things that you do. So, it doesn't have to be a lot. It could just be 30 minutes, one day a week that you set aside time to just digest something and then think about it and figure out how you can apply it, because that's how we continue to grow. So scholarship can take many forms, but make sure that it takes a form in your life.
Yeah. Well said. Yeah. Well said.
Okay. So we're moving on to the Will Be the Judge segment. And
you teased this.
I teased it because Briefcase Curious sent us another note. And so she said, first of all, thank you. She said, I heard your episode and I felt so seen. Tamara, when you said not to go to law school without counting the costs, I was like, yep, she's right. But then Dannelle said that if you've got a dream, you've got to pursue it. And I was like, wait, she's right too. So now I'm back in the middle, encouraged, but still a little overwhelmed. And here's my follow-up question. How do I tell the difference between a dream that's meant for me and one that just looks good on paper? I don't want to chase something out of ego or nostalgia, but I also don't want to talk myself out of something I'm capable of just because it's hard. I'm not afraid of the work. I just want to be sure it's the right mountain to climb. Help me out.
Whoa. Briefcase Curious. I mean, I like your first question was easier. I think when you think about a dream and if it's really for you or not, there is something very finite, something very clear, about what is meant for you. Also your motivation and your effort will be unquestioned. I think that sums it up. If it's something that keeps you up at night, something that continues to come up when you make other decisions, you still thinking about that dream or that want, because you have to be motivated for it. But dreams and things that you have to do, they will continue to recur in your life, especially when you divert from them. So I just think that there's something very clear about a dream. But again, if you find yourself putting the action to it, then you'll know, because a dream is just that. It's almost like a hope until you put some action to it and a plan.
I think that you need to have a full picture of what this life is like. And you will know if it's just ego when it gets hard and you want to quit. If it's just ego, you will quit.
For sure.
But if you know what it's like and you know the full picture and you know the good and the bad and you're like, I still want to do this anyway, then it's not just ego. And, we don't want to, people have motivations, and it's okay if motivations are selfish, but it also has to serve a greater purpose if you're going to persist. Sure. So you're counting the cost still, and I still commend you for digging deep to figure out if this is something you really want to do. If there is something about you that's like, I just want to be known as an attorney. That's not going to cut it, girl. Because it's going to get real hard, and law school is not going to be that fun. And you're going to be like, you know what? I can be known as something else. So if it's just ego, I mean, I love being known as an attorney, but that's not my sole motivation. So if it's just ego, it's not going to be enough to help you get through. So you're going to have to really ask yourself, like, do I really want to do this? Knowing the pros and cons of law practice and the legal life, and then let that motivate you and help you make the best decision.
That's actually a great point, because at some point in life, I can care less whether someone knows that I'm an attorney. People around me care more about whether I'm an attorney than I do, because at a certain point in life, you recognize that's not how I identify.
Yeah.
You know, so that was a really good point. That's a good way because eventually you can go to law school, you can be an attorney. No, but in the grand scheme of things, it's only going to matter to your parents. I mean, it's just not going to matter to a whole lot of people. So that's really spot on. But again, you're still toying with this question that you keep coming back to us with. So I think you may just even want to think that part of this through and weighing kind of what you want to do. And I don't know how you're going on this one, but I think you'll know.
Yeah.
So,
okay, well, it seems like you're iterating as we've been talking about.
Thanks for watching.
Yeah, thanks for watching, and let us know, what you decide. Yeah. And, we talked about this before, you have time, but you don't have time. So, think long, think wrong. But let us know what you decide, because we're interested.
Yeah.
So. Okay, Tamara, it's time for our favorite segment, Against My Better Judgment. And I think you have something to share.
So, Dannelle, I just beat myself up with what I did.
What did you do?
So I have an SUV, and I drove it knowing that there was a hole in my gas tank. So, earlier today you asked, like, where's your car?
Yeah, because when I pulled up, it was not in the driveway.
And so here's what happened. So I went to do this community service work on MLK Day, Day of Service.
We were together.
And I got off on the Briley Parkway exit, like 215B or whatever. And I saw this, it looked like a metal pipe. Okay. Just a typical, probably about 8 inches metal pipe.
In the road?
In the road. I could not avoid it. So hindsight, when I hit it, the sound was so loud that the person whom I was on the phone with heard it. And I'm like, man, but you hit it, keep moving. I go to the community service event. By this time, I'm still in this conversation. It hadn't crossed my mind. Drop off a few things. After the event, I go to the Museum of African American Music Museum, downtown Nashville. Great time. Great
to the museum.
So I went to the museum. So I was there for a couple hours. After that, I met a friend for a little snack.
You was out.
I was in the streets. I'm not even finished because that community service was like at 1:00.
Yeah.
Okay. Still no issue with my truck. No issue. I then meet another one of my friends to watch the college football playoff game. Mm-hmm. So that game's over at about 10:30. So I was in North Nashville. So I'm heading home, and I'm like, man, I don't keep my gas low on the truck. And so I was like, man, my gas is low. Then it goes from like 66 miles to 55 miles left to E. And I'm like, that's weird. I see a gas station, and I'm like, okay, let me just get gas. I'm getting gas. Well, the guy next to me, my gas tank is on the passenger side, not on the driver's side. So it's on the passenger side. I see the guy next to me on the other side of the pump go in. I'm like, okay, no big deal. But I hear gas running. So I'm like, do not leave your car. Stay with it when you're pumping gas. So I was kind of annoyed. So I was going to go over to take his pump out because gas was clearly overflowing in his car. So went over there to take his pump out. I'm like, that's weird. It wasn't his. So I take out the gas thing, put it up, go around to the driver's side. Gas is gushing out of the bottom of my truck.
Oh my
Just gushing out. So I'm like,
And that's expensive too.
Well, what really ticked me off is the guy that would have been on the same side of my truck. He didn't tell me anything. I mean, gas is going to his side. I mean, gas is everywhere. So I'm like, oh, crud. So I get into the passenger side because I didn't want to step in gas. And I'm like, I can't take this car home. So I Googled the closest dealership for my car. So I drive it there. By this time, it's about 11:30. And I fill out the little envelope and I drop my key in there and drop it in the box. And then one of my dear friends, I was just calling to make sure, I was calling her to make sure I was doing the right thing by leaving the car. And that turned into, she insisted to come pick me up, which again, this is one of those friendships, sailing friends. So I definitely beat an Uber. So I was really grateful, but I did not want to get her out of her sleep to come pick me up, but it really worked out. So after all that happened, I just thought through literally a hole in my gas tank. So it was the perfect storm. And I think the pressure of the gas, I pushed it out.
Okay.
Because keep in mind, I'd driven all day, but like I had 500 miles to E when I was driving to the dealership. By the time I made it there, I only had 189 miles. Like, so the force of the gas pumping pushed it out, and that's what caused it. But it was so against my better judgment when I thought about how many things could have gone wrong. I thought really quickly and made that decision. But after the fact, I thought like, oh my, the car should have been towed. I should have called a tow truck. It should have been towed to the dealership. So hindsight, against my better judgment, the car should have been towed, but it would have taken me forever. Like I would have waited for a tow truck. It was midnight and the gas station was about to close. It was so many issues, but so I did that against my better judgment.
I still think it worked out.
It did.
I mean, well, obviously it worked out because you're sitting here in your car.
But that's all happened. It just worked out.
Yeah.
It was not smart.
Yeah. Well, so this is another, I'll add to against my better judgment. So on Christmas Eve, we always, we don't do Christmas dinner. Like no one cooks Christmas dinner. We order Christmas dinner and have it on Christmas Day. So, but we get it from Maggiano. So you have to go the day before to get your food.
Oh, you pick it up.
Yeah.
It's Christmas Eve.
Christmas Eve. So Christmas Eve, we hosted brunch for my in-laws. And then when they left, I was like, hey, I'm going to go, pick up the food. And so my husband was like, no, I'll get it. I was like, nah, I want to get it. I'm ready to go. I want to go. So I went, honey.
Who would fight over that? I'd be like, go, Andre.
I don't know why. And I don't know why I was emphatic about going. I don't know why. Anyway, so I turned into Maggiano's and I ran over the curb and my tire popped. And it's kind of like the gas thing. You know, the tire reading goes from 38 to 0 so I parked it. They were able to bring the food out, but I'm sitting there. And so then I called my husband. I'm like, hey, you're going to have to come get me.
That part.
He was like, see, you should have let me pick up the food.
That part.
So he and the boys came and he stayed with the car while AAA came and changed my tire. And then
Andre, super.
He is. And I totally, it was against my better judgment to go get the food. So car things happen.
Yeah. And this is her saying, I'm sorry, Andre.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. So things happen.
Yeah.
And we make the best decisions we can after they do happen to try to make things better. So
don't do that again though.
I can't say that I won't.
All right. That's fair.
But I'll think twice.
No.
So what are we taking away from this conversation?
I mean, I think, do what makes you curious, because if it makes you curious, you will have the wherewithal to do hard.
Yeah.
And whatever it is, don't let anyone minimize like that they're more important or that they have a better because of degrees. Do what makes you curious, continue to learn, and continue to grow forward. I love scholarship. I love it.
Yeah. And I'll just say that from the seat that I'm sitting in, if there is something that's nagging you, something you tried and you decided to stop, or something that, you are curious about, don't let it rest. even if you have to uproot your schedule, change your life, it is worth it to say I did it. You know, it's like the sense of self-accomplishment to me is so rewarding to say, like, I made a decision, I stuck with the decision, and look what's happening now. So yeah, just take a chance on you. How that looks might be different, but take a chance on yourself.
Bet on you?
Yep.
I like it.
Yeah. So thanks for being with us. Please send us your questions at againstmybetterjudgmentpod@gmail.com or againstmybetterjudgmentpod on Facebook or Instagram.
And thanks for hanging out with us. We'll see you again next week.
We want to be 5-star chicks, so rate us 5 stars.
5 stars.
5 stars, please.
Thank y'all.
And we'll see you next time.
All right. Bye.